Kia ora and welcome to the very first podcast episode of Singers Having Coffee. My name is Zoe Stebe. I am going to be your host and I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me because Singers Having Coffee is born out of so many discussions with my colleagues about music and about singing and about their experiences. And I realized that, you know what, we don't actually share a lot of these things that happen within our lives along the way that inform who we have become as musicians. And actually, I wanted to call this podcast Things I Wish My Music Teacher Had Taught Me. But then I realized that actually that was probably a little bit too long. And coffee is obviously something that, so many people online tell singers that they shouldn't be drinking. But of course, anyone can drink coffee, singers included. And actually, most of us drink shitloads of coffee. So this podcast is going to be conversations between myself and my fantastic colleagues talking about everything to do with what we've learned along the way as musicians and singers and teachers and performers and professionals. And I really just want to say, come along for the ride. Come along this is the podcast that I wish that I'd had when I was a younger musician, learning to sing, learning my instruments. These are going to be conversations that everyone should be privy to, and we should be talking more about. I've got lined up. I'm so excited. Honestly, I know some really, really freaking cool people and musicians and performers and even people who've given up. So, for example, Taryn West is going to be joining us on the podcast. She's an incredible life coach. We actually went to university together. She's an incredible singer, and she gave up because of the pressures to do with singing and lots of other things around that. So we're going to be talking about her journey as a singer. I've got Anthony Utama coming on the podcast. He is also a really fantastic friend of mine from New Zealand. We used to sing together as well in Auckland. He gave up his job to travel the world busking. I mean, talk about courage. We're going to be talking about his journey from, going down the right path to then ultimately becoming a professional singer. I've got conversations lined up with Anna Hawkins, this amazing singer from New Zealand who, honestly, when I was growing up, I was so jealous of her because she was this singer that I aspired to be like, and so confident, and how she's working as a full-time professional singer, but without being signed to a label. And actually, when I sat down with her to have the conversation about her journey, we actually realized that we were being pitted against each other in our really small town, and especially at the school that we went to, which is just mind-blowing to me that our teachers would do that to us. So these are the conversations that we should be having with one another. I sit down with Jaron Legrea, who's the most incredible professor of singing, and we talk about how he has always felt like he's being chosen to be part of the second group of the worship team. And he is the most amazing singer, and yet he struggled with imposter syndrome and feeling like he wasn't good enough. I want you to know, though, that it's not all about, hardships and hard decisions and things like that. Like, I do not wish a lot of these experiences on people, but the beauty is that they're all human experiences. They're all our experiences. And in the end, every single one of my guests, and I can say this about future guests that I haven't had on the podcast before, and I can say this pretty much about I can say this about myself as well. Everyone that I've interviewed and will interview, I guarantee that they will say that they wouldn't change a thing. As hard as it is to admit that you wouldn't change these like really difficult experiences, they end up shaping you or shaping us as the teacher and teachers that we've become, shaping us as the performers. Actually, funnily enough, I've realized in the last wee while, because I'm actually back introducing this podcast after it's already been around for a couple of years, because I don't know why I didn't do it in the beginning, but I'm realizing that it's also actually made me a much better actress. It's made me a better teacher. It's made me a better singer. It's informed my decisions much, much more clearly through these experiences that I've had. So I'm going to keep today's episode really short because I wanted to just introduce Singers Having Coffee. And I really hope that you enjoy. If you want to subscribe, follow wherever you are, I'd love to see you around here more often, because these are really, really important conversations that need to be had. And people that you might not have heard of before, which is absolutely okay, because actually sometimes some of the best teachers and singers and things are actually people that are not so famous. But there are also people that I take great pride in knowing, maybe even not knowing, maybe I've approached them and said, hey, come on my podcast. I feel like you've got a really amazing story to tell. And of course, it's like exactly at that moment where I'm like, I'm going to record my introduction to my podcast, that I end up like getting a bloody sinus infection. But I was like, no, I'm going to continue on with it. So I'm really, really humbled and proud and excited. And I want to shout it from the rooftops that I know these people and that I've connected with these amazing professionals, because yeah, enough said. Have a listen to the podcast. I'd love to see you around here so that you can grow and learn and laugh and cry with us all, because I really love it. Music is often described as a difficult road and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's not all roses and unicorns, but I don't want you to think that it's like this impossibly hard slog, because actually you choose music really because there's literally there's no other way. There's no other, I couldn't imagine anything else in my life, no matter what it is. And there's no, when I talk with Anthony Utama about his career as as turning from a marketer into a musician, it's like this drive, you can't get rid of it. It's like music's not something that you can just put down. So yeah, I'm really proud of this podcast. I'm really, really proud of what it's become, what it's going to turn into. I'm really excited with the direction that we're going. So I'd love to see you around here more often. I'd love for you to listen, and wherever you're listening, leave a comment, subscribe, follow us, and I'll see you around here more often for Singers Having Coffee. I'm really, really excited. Have an awesome rest of your day. Ka kite anō.